Good morning, everyone. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me, make sure the audio and the video are both working properly. If you're having any issues with audio or video, just drop something in the chat so I can at least alert folks. Okay, great. It looks like we've got a pretty set audience, so I'm going to just jump right into our presentation. A couple of housekeeping notes. In order to minimize or maximize a video, double click on that image. What I would recommend that everyone do is double click on the actual presentation. It should be up as a screen share in addition to the window that has my face. I'm going to run through our presentation. If at any point you have a question, both about a concept that I raise or a specific project that either is or isn't raised in this presentation, feel free to hold it. This will be a relatively quick presentation. And if there is any questions or discussions, we can do those at the end. All right, so any housekeeping questions before we get started? Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kareem D. Marshall. I am a development manager in the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development under Deputy Mayor Jean Falchicchia, who you heard from this morning, in the government of Mayor Muriel Bowser. Thank you all for attending, and thank you for coming specifically to this session. Today, I'm going to provide an update on the RFPs that DMPED has issued, as well as our new equity preference. Okay, one second. Okay, just to make sure everyone sees the second slide. It looks like it's presenting, so. Okay, so on July 15th, DMPED issued a new strategy for enhancing equity and making sure that DC's prosperity was more inclusive, and equity inclusion prioritization in forthcoming requests for proposals, or RFPs, that will increase access to development opportunities for entities or organizations that are owned or majority controlled by individuals determined to be a part of socially disadvantaged populations. To facilitate equitable access to district development projects, DMPED will begin incorporating a prioritization in our RFPs for teams that maximize, by percentage of ownership and control, entities designated as disadvantaged business enterprises, or DBEs, and resident-owned businesses, or ROBs, or any entities, including nonprofits and community institutions, which are led by or majority controlled by individuals designated as socially disadvantaged under the Small Businesses Administration definition. The first RFP with this equity inclusion priority is for the Langston Slater School at 43 P Street Northwest in Ward 5. The property was formerly two separate elementary schools, Slater Elementary and John Mercer Langston Elementary School. Slater Elementary was constructed in 1891 as a school for African American students. The school was part of a complex of schools for Black students along First Street Northwest between L and P Streets Northwest. The John Mercer Langston Elementary School was built in 1902 to handle the overflow of students from the adjoining Slater School. This RFP was released on July 14, 2020, and has a submission deadline of September 14, 2020. The Malcolm X site at 1351 Alabama Avenue Southeast in Ward 8 is part of the former Malcolm X Elementary School campus. This school closed in 2013 and is now home to DC government facilities and various community-based organizations. The site is adjacent to the Congress Heights Metro Station and close to the Entertainment and Sports Arena on the St. Elizabeth's East campus. In addition to the DMPED RFP at this site, the Department of General Services is also concurrently issuing a design build request for proposals for the portion of Lot 806 that includes the physical school building to be renovated or replaced for a new high school. The DMPED RFP for Malcolm X includes instructions that leave open the possibility for one team to complete both projects. The site has also been identified as an opportunity for teacher and/or educator housing to live in the community where they teach. The surplus process has started for the Frank D. Reeves Municipal Building at 2000 14th Street Northwest in Ward 1. The site is located within the U Street corridor, which has been a long-standing and historic hub of cultural, educational, and commercial life for African Americans in DC, and the area continues to be one of the district's most flourishing destinations. The site is culturally significant to district history, and any redevelopment is required to integrate and commemorate that significance. Additionally, the NAACP is seeking to relocate its national headquarters to the site, and the district will prioritize development proposals that include the NAACP as a foundational anchor tenant and a development equity partner. The district will also prioritize teams that maximize the percentage with a goal of 100% of partnering entities or organizations that are owned or majority controlled by individuals determined to be part of a socially disadvantaged population. Additionally, the surplus process was started for Hill East's Phase 2 at 19th Street and Massachusetts Avenue Southeast in Ward 7. It is comprised of 8 parcels located on the Hill East site between the eastern edge of the Capitol Hill neighborhood and the western shore of the Anacostia River. For the Phase 2 RFP's equitable development focus, the district will seek teams that provide small and disadvantaged businesses the opportunity to lead and own/control a component or a portion of the site comprising one or more parcels within the overall development. This component developer model helps disadvantaged firms grow and build capacity, while benefiting from the economies of scale and other resources a large development structure can provide. So this concludes the presentation specifically on those projects. But if you have any questions or are there any discussion points you'd like to raise, I'm available to answer those. So David Smith asks, do we have an estimate on project completion for the Reeves site? So we did actually discuss the Reeves site. So we started the surplus process for the building. When you say project completion, do you mean like when the project as a whole is complete, or when we will actually issue and assign the RFP? Like, what, Mr. Smith, specifically, what do you mean by project completion? The former, okay. So we are about to issue the RFP. It has not yet been issued, right? So as Jessica said, the RFP will be going out in the next month, but the RFP will go out, there'll be responses, we'll select a developer, and then they will go through the process of developing it. So there's the entire process that still needs to be executed. Did that answer your question? Okay, great. Any other questions? I'm here at your disposal. Oh, hello, Akila. So we've already run through the presentation. We are at a point where we're open for questions. We discussed very briefly, generally, the equity preference that has been issued by DMPED and our mayor. In short, the preference seeks to prioritize entities that are bidding on projects that have a either controlling or majority stake by entities or by persons who are members of groups that have been defined as disadvantaged businesses according to the Small Business Administration's definition. If you have any other specific questions, we can follow up afterwards. I will put my email address in the chat, and if I can't answer your question, someone at DMPED will. But if anyone else has a specific question or would like to join, apparently the chamber will be able to put you on to let you join, ask a question on screen with us. But I think we'll give it a couple of more minutes. And if we don't have anyone step forward with a question, my email address is in the chat. If you aren't comfortable asking the question live, we can get back to you as soon as possible. We have an entire office of people who are very eager to move development along. So Laris Bernard asks, do you have to be a disadvantaged business registered with the SBA, or is DC okay? I will actually have to get back with you on that question. We are using the SBA definition, and it is incorporated by reference into DC law. However, I will research that and let you know whether or not dual registration confers any advantages or eases any administrative burdens. Laris Bernard, I don't want to make an assumption about your gender. Would you be okay with emailing me that question if you're not comfortable with putting your email address into the chat box? Okay. All right, Laris Media. Okay, so I have your email address, and I will get you an answer for that as soon as possible. So our friends at the chamber, is there a way for us to get this information to you to disseminate to anyone who was in this session in case they're broadly interested in the follow-up questions? I guess we can figure that out as a follow-up matter. But, well, I'm not going to assume. Laris, I will research this and get back to you. Okay, and it looks like the chamber can distribute the information. So we will both research that for Laris and get it back to you and to the chamber so that everyone can get that information. Okay, hearing no other questions, I would like to thank all of you for attending. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of this wonderful summit that the chamber has been able to put together despite virtual distancing. It was a pleasure virtually meeting you all. And if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with Jessica, who is in DMPED with me, or the chamber. They've been extremely adaptable in a very tough environment. So you all have a great day. Thank you.